Hello again, this is Dr. Mike, and today we are going to talk about animal ethics, which in our vet tech classes, which I teach for Valley as well, this might be a little more pertinent to them, but I wanted to at least cover this because many of you are involved with pets and animals, of course, yourself. Many of you animal lovers. We have lots of animal lovers in around the world. So I want to just kind of talk about in general terms to get you started some things about this that I think you will find interesting because it really does describe a current issue in American animal ethics that includes hunting and vegetarianism, animal research, endangered species, cloning, all of those things that you've heard about maybe are part of this discussion. So let me get to our slides and we'll look at some particular things to get you started in your path. So basically, all of these are current issues. Moral vegetarianism, some people are vegetarians for moral reasons. That is, they don't eat animals because they consider animals to be living beings. A lot of Buddhist folks are like that. They are vegetarians. Hindus are vegetarian. And then, of course, other certain animals are taboo to some religions, like pork to Islam and pork to the Jewish belief. They don't eat pork. So there's all kind of different levels of that. The moral vegetarians, those that don't eat for moral reasons, are against raising and killing animals for food, and factory farms. And factory farms is a whole discussion that we don't have time to probably delve into too deeply, but you realize that some animals are groomed to be food. Chickens is the best example of that. Some chickens will lay eggs in cages. You'll notice in the grocery store when you go to buy eggs, it will say non-caged eggs, non-caged produced, which means they're allowed to walk on dirt and on the ground. Some chickens never see the outside of a chicken house. And not too long ago, they were actually raising a blind chicken because chickens tend to peck each other when they live in cages and like that. But blind chickens can't see, and so they don't do that. So, I mean, what kind of ethical issues does that raise? That you raise chickens to be blind just to produce eggs and food for us, which raises all kind of different kind of problems that I think in my mind in thinking about that. Raising chickens for food. My cousin used to live in Georgia. He was a chicken farmer. He had 3 chicken houses, and they had 30,000 chickens each in those houses, and they raised them and grew them out every 30 days, or 90 days. Every 90 days, they had a new group of chickens. That's how quickly they grew them, mainly with hormones in the feed to speed the growth. And of course, as we've talked about, you get those hormones into your body. They affect you. They affect your children, cause early maturation in children. And so all kind of things go on with this that could probably, if we thought enough about it, would push all of us toward being a vegetarian. There's also animal experimentation. This was a bigger deal in the 70s for some reason, back in the day when we had all the rights about, civil rights and women's rights and gay rights and all the other stuff. We had lots of people that were animal rights advocates that would throw paint. They'd go to like a movie awards banquet, and people dressed the best, wore their minks and all this stuff, and they'd literally throw paint on them in protest of them using minks for chinchillas, for furs, and for all this stuff. And there would be literally people that would break into testing centers and free the animals that were being used for testing. Mainly because it's either use humans for testing or animals close to us in our genetic makeup for testing. We did that with COVID. We probably had to, for speed's sake, we tested on animals. But you realize that the closest animal to our chromosomal genome is the chimpanzee. So they usually are that, or rats and mice are usually our closest. And so they get used quite a lot. We don't understand that. We don't know the extent of pain or, but there is lots of people that feel very strongly about that. Other issues are like endangered species. The biodiversity of our world gets changed by lots of different things. When I was in Colorado, we had just taken the American eagle off of the endangered species list. And I got to see one day up in the mountains, a beautiful bird. And I was really happy to hear that we had enough of those now that they weren't endangered anymore. But there's always that biodiversity. Right now in Florida, we got a huge problem with snakes. If you don't know that, someone's turned loose the giant boas and anacondas and all this stuff that they brought home as pets and got too big to handle, turned them loose in the swamps in Florida. They have now taken over the swamps and killed off entire levels of the ecosystem. I mean, you don't find rabbits or rats, or now they're eating alligators and they're eating deer actually. And they have so many of them. They're trying to get it back under control. They have a hunting season in which they pay people to come in and hunt these giant snakes. So the biodiversity is all kind of screwed up with that. And the question is, do animals have moral standing? Do they have intrinsic values? Do they have rights? Are we and should we, if we respect dogs and cats, should we give the same respect to rats and snakes? In the Buddhist religion, they believe in that the sensation, sense of being, the part that makes you alive is the same in all of us. And so they will greatly respect animals. There was a movie years ago called The Karate Girl. I don't know if you ever saw that, but she was staying in a Buddhist monastery and she killed a cockroach with her shoe. And they were greatly offended because she had killed something that had the life force in it. I was coming home from church one Sunday morning and there was a Toyota stopped in the road dead in front of me. And this little Asian couple was out. Someone had hit a squirrel and it was laying in the road still moving. And they got out and took a piece of paper and slid it under the squirrel and very gently took it over to the side of the road where it wouldn't continue to be dishonored by being hit with a car. And so that was a very living example of what it means to be a Buddhist, to care for the life forces that we're in. By the way, that's probably one of the best courses I ever took was in Buddhism. I had a master teacher from China, and I still go back to that course so many times. To the things that we learned there was really, really good. So how do you approach animal ethics? Different ways that we value animals. They're either there to serve us, or they're there not to serve us. That's the main views. Either animals are here to give us pleasure, or they're just here to serve and live. The sentience is that spirit or life force that the Buddhists talk about. Animals have the ability to feel and sense, and so there are different reasons to not be cruel to animals. And so you're going to read Singer and some other approaches here to animal ethics that I think that you'll agree with. Speciesism. One of the things you'll hear often when we're talking about animals is spading and neutering to keep them from producing unwanted pets in the world. There's tons and tons of dogs and cats that nobody ever picks up or needs, and so they get put to sleep. And so lots of people are very, very concerned about that. So as you read these different, Singer and Reagan, some of these other philosophers are going to give you kind of a foundational idea of animal ethics. And I think you'll find it to be very helpful to you in thinking about this. Be sure that you read the chapter. Be sure that you read or listen to the TED Talks. And I think you will find those to be very enlightening. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for the time. And like I say, this lecture is meant only to kind of whet your appetite, get you started in your reading, and make you hopefully want to read more. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.